Romanovich, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start ahead with the bilateral cooperation of the Kazakhstan and the Belgium European Union. We know for the recent years that we've seen a very active engagement. What can you tell us as an ambassador today?
Well, this year we celebrate 34 years since we established diplomatic ties between Kazakhstan and Belgium. And I think we can proudly say that we have covered a very long and successful road of cooperation. Today, Belgium is one of the 10 largest investors in Kazakhstan. There are about 80 companies with Belgian registration that work successfully in Kazakhstan, who have invested more than 14.5 billion euros in our economy. Our trade is growing. I can't say it's booming, but it is growing year on year, and last year it amounted to about 600 million US dollars. The Belgian companies are present in logistics, in transport, in chemical production in Kazakhstan. I would also like to say that there is a very robust, open and frank political dialogue between our countries. Our President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev met Prime Minister Bart de Wever in New York, and we hope that they will meet sometime soon again, so that they can take this relationship even further. Of course, another area of cooperation that I will mention gladly is science and education. There are several hundred Kazakh students that study in Belgium. There is a Belgian dean at one of the universities in Kazakhstan, and there are more than 20 agreements between Kazakh universities and Belgian universities that allow for our universities to send researchers, students and professors on various programs to Belgian universities and vice versa. And we recently held a very successful visit by our Minister of Science, Aysat Nurbek, who has, along with his team, met with numerous Belgian universities. So all in all, this relationship is on the upswing, and I think in the next few months we certainly will see very good news as far as political, economic, cultural and scholarly cooperation between our two countries.
And also, once we touch base on the education, we also know that our Minister of Science and Higher Education, Aysat Nurbek, visited Belgium, and he was in the world-renowned research center IMEC. It's a global leader in the microelectronics and semiconductor technologies. Can we say that this scientific and technological cooperation is emerging as a new growth between the cooperation between Kazakhstan and Belgium, especially given the fact that this year, 2026, has been announced as the year of digitalization and artificial intelligence in Kazakhstan?
Yes, Minister Nurbek had a very excellent conversation with the leaders of IMEC, and I'm certain that this first meeting will not be the last, and there will be cooperation, because IMEC is indeed a very unique institution, bridging the academic world and the business world, and more than 600 researchers and specialists work in that center on developing the basis for semiconductors. And there is a perfect match between Kazakh researchers, Kazakh producers of rare earth metals, which are needed in the production of semiconductors, and the needs of IMEC. So in the not too distant future, I think we will also be able to announce some good progress on that score as well.
And also it's very important to touch base on the critical raw materials. We know that 90% of Kazakhstan's export to the European Union consists of the oil, gas and uranium, and at the same time, Kazakhstan is trying to diversify its export portfolio and develop value-added industries. And in your opinion, what steps are being taken by our government of Kazakhstan and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in particular to ensure the cooperation between Belgium and the European Union goes beyond just the raw materials, but contributes to the development of the high added value chains?
Yes, Kazakhstan is blessed with mineral wealth, as we all know, and what is particularly important to highlight in this connection is that We are not only rich in mineral resources, but we are open to cooperation, to mutually beneficial cooperation with the outside partners. As far as critical raw materials are concerned, Kazakhstan already produces 21 critical raw material out of 34 critical raw materials that the European Union identifies as such. And with further investment, we can certainly envision the production of the remaining 13 critical raw materials that the European Union needs. And Kazakhstan and Kazakhstan's government has pursued a very clear policy by welcoming investments and technologies in exchange for access to critical raw materials. There are rather successful examples already of such cooperation with the European Union. In particular, last year, the European Union selected, among many other projects in the world and inside the European Union, one project in Kazakhstan to be a strategically important project for the European Union. I'm talking about the Saritogan graphite mine in the Karaganda region. That designation as a strategic project means that the European Union will help develop this project, will help with finding partners, with finding financing, and with even providing offtake contracts for the production from that project. None other than President of the European Commission highlighted the fact that when this project is fully developed, it will be able to produce 100,000 batteries worth of graphite for electric vehicles a year. So this is a successful example, and we're certain that there will be more.
Great. And also one of the questions that we usually get asked is a visa facilitation. Can you please update us on the current process, what can we expect and when?
We are in the final stages of negotiating over two agreements that need to be signed together. One is the visa facilitation agreement, the other one is the readmission agreement, which provides for the country outside of the European Union to accept those that the European Union will find somehow in violation of its entry requirements. So at this moment, we are, as I said, in the final stages. We're almost done with negotiations, which have proceeded at a very fast pace and in a very constructive manner. It will require some time then for us to finalize what we will agree and to sign the actual agreements and to make sure they enter into force. But I would like to hope that we're talking about months, not years. So in the not too distant future, we hope that the citizens of Kazakhstan will enjoy a facilitated set of requirements when applying for Schengen visas.
Great. Yeah, and also once we have it for the tourists, we also it's important to touch base on the transport and logistics. We also talking a lot about the middle corridor, Trans-Caspian corridor, that Western our counterparts are interested in. And why I'm saying this, it's we've seen that the cargo loops also re-entered Kazakhstan's market with the, if I'm not mistaken, 14 flights through Kazakhstan. What does it signal us as an middle power who has a capacity to be a transit hub between the West and the East?
Well, you have so many important messages in your question that I'd like to tackle them one by one.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for people to travel to European Union, we now have some, I would say, rather limited air connection. That's not a secret. But we are working to sign what is known as the Horizontal Aviation Agreement between the European Union and Kazakhstan, which will provide for the opportunity for any airline in the European Union to fly to any city in Kazakhstan, and vice versa for any airline that is of course legitimate and has all the proper documents to fly to any city in the European Union. So hopefully that agreement, once signed and once it enters into force, will be exactly in time for the bigger numbers of Kazakh citizens who would want to travel to Europe, filling the airplanes that will take them to the European Union. At the same time, we are developing the middle corridor, as you rightly mentioned. We are developing all corridors, in fact, both going in the north-south and in the east-west direction. But since we're talking about the relations with the European Union, I will of course focus on the middle corridor. It is a very important concept. It is a very promising alternative to other routes that are existing or are being planned. We see a remarkable growth in the volumes of transportation along the middle corridor in the past 5 years alone, from 850,000 tons transported along the middle corridor and across the Caspian Sea from the ports of Aktau and Kuryk to, in 2021, to 5.2 million tons in 2025. And the plans are afoot to reach 10 million tons by 2029 and eventually 30 million tons by 2040. So that is a very, very important development that will create an additional outlet for goods to reach first the Caucasus, but then the European Union. In terms of the middle power, as you mentioned, we as a country indeed are increasingly called that, the middle power. We take this designation with all seriousness. We understand that it requires from a country to be proactive in addressing regional and global problems, and Kazakhstan, with its potential, economic potential, political potential, has played, can play, and will play a constructive role in addressing global issues such as energy security, such as climate change, such as common and responsible use of water.